In this video, we're going to go over all my recipes that I made over the month of August 2025. There's so many simple recipes you can try at home here, so don't be afraid. Go ahead, try them yourself. Let me know in the comments below which you enjoyed the most. And if you do try any of these recipes, seriously, tag me on Instagram. I can't wait to see what you make. Oh my God, they're so delicious, so buckle up and enjoy yourself. This is a good one. Welcome back to Steak School. Today, we're grilling one of the true legends of the steak world, the boneless ribeye. This gorgeous cut came from Vessel Meats in Dartmouth, Nova Scotia, a butcher that truly knows how to age and trim beef correctly. Now, what makes a ribeye such a favorite? It's all about the marbling, those ribbons of intermuscular fat that melt during the cooking, delivering intense flavor and a tender, juicy bite every time. Ribeye comes from the rib section of the cow, specifically the upper rib cage, between 6th and 12th rib. When you get boneless, you lose a dramatic amount of the look of a cowboy steak or a tomahawk, but you gain even cooking and quicker grill times, which is perfect for weeknights and casual steak nights. For seasoning, I went with Mighty Mesquite Dry Rub from Maritime Madness. It's smoky with a little sweet, and it just has that right amount of salt and spice to bring out the richness of the ribeye without covering it up. It's a rub that complements the beef instead of competing with it. Now, I fired up my Napoleon gas grill and went on to straight high heat. Ribeye needs a solid sear. That fat renders best when it hits blazing hot grates. I flipped it a few times until I built a nice little crust, got some grill grate marks on there, and then slid it over onto indirect heat to finish slowly and gently. That two-zone method is key with a fatty cut like this. You want to develop flavor on the outside without torching the inside. I was aiming for medium rare, so I pulled it off at an internal temperature of about 130, and I let it rest for about 5 to 10 minutes to let those juices redistribute. It ended up hitting about 138 internal. One thing to know about the ribeye, it's not just a steak. It's two muscles in one. There's an eye, the more compact center section, and the rib cap, also known as the spinalis dorsi. I think that's how you pronounce it, which wraps around the outside and is insanely flavorful. When you slice it, you can really taste the contrast, tender and rich in the center, intensely beefy around the edge. Whether you're grilling, pan-searing, or reverse searing in the oven, the boneless ribeye is a crowd pleaser. It's forgiving, it's decadent, and if you treat it with a bit of care, it rewards you every single time. That's your ribeye rundown from Steak School with Saucy Rossy. Follow more for pro tips, butcher breakdowns, fire-cooked flavor bombs from the backyard. Thanks for listening, guys. Man, I had a lot of fun with this cook. The ribeye was so enjoyable and flavorful. I don't really get the chance to eat dry aged beef all that often, and this was literally one of the most flavorful and delicious steaks I've ever had. As you can see here, I'm just about to finish it off. I have it on my warming rack just above the heat, which is basically indirect heat, and that's how I'm bringing it up to temp here. Like I said a little earlier in the video, I cooked this to 130 internal, and then when I pulled it to rest, it hit 138. You'll see here in just a moment, it was a little bit closer to medium rare than medium rare. But I was still really happy. You know, the ribeye is one of those cuts that really, really shines, whether you cook it, rare, or medium. I think this cut is just actually a 10 out of 10. I do know it is a little more pricey, but I personally think it's worth it. If you have a celebration or something and you want to, have a nice meal, this is the way to go. A nice ribeye steak, man, oh man. So let's go ahead, slice into that and check it out. Yeah, like I was saying, closer to medium rare than just medium rare, but I'm still very happy with these results. So delicious. Oh, so juicy and tender. I mean, just look at that cut of beef. Isn't that incredible? Oh, buddy, that's what I'm talking about when I'm talking about delicious backyard barbecue. But look, if you haven't already liked and subscribed, you need to do that ASAP. I'm constantly dropping these videos. If you haven't checked out my entire steak school series, I strongly suggest you do. You can just see it in the playlist this video is already in. Oh man, thanks again for watching. It really means a lot. I hope you're having a great day. Take care, stay safe, and remember to like and subscribe. You're going to love my community of home cooks. See you later. What's up? What's up? It's your boy Saucy, Rossy, the Canadian king of backyard barbecue. And as you can see, I made some delectable sweet guava barbecue chicken drumsticks on my offset smoker. This was absolutely delicious and delectable. Excited to walk you through the entire recipe, so go ahead, like and subscribe, hit that bell for notifications, comment below what you think of this recipe, and just do yourself a favor and join my community. I'm using Island Gurl Foods barbecue seasoning today. It's a crossover with a spice affair, and this stuff's absolutely delicious. I really like the way it just looks like sand from a beach. It always makes me feel like I'm going to a tropical destination. So I just got my chicken drumsticks laid out, and I just fully coated them. As you can see, I'm jangling them together. Just trying to fully coat here. That's really important. We want every single nook and cranny on these chicken drumsticks to have that seasoning on it. Next, I'm out at my offset smoker and I'm running applewood today. As you can see, I got a nice healthy fire going. Then just threw my little rack of drumsticks on the smoker. These are going to go low and slow around 275 for probably about an hour and 15, an hour and a half or so. I'm planning on bringing them up to the internal temperature of 180 degrees. Now, with chicken, you only need to pass 165. However, I personally enjoy my chicken when it's dark meat around 180 if it's low and slow barbecue. Closer to that like fall off the bone kind of feeling, and it's just absolutely delectable. So I've got my applewood just running in a fire on the firebox, and it's just pouring smoke all over these. They're coming up to temp at a really good rate. Everything here is going pretty smooth. There's nothing to really be concerned about. You know, patience is key with low and slow barbecue. And when you got a rig this size, well, hey, you really got to be patient. So once they hit about 165 internal, I'm going to pull them off for a quick second and hit them with some Island Gurl Foods sweet guava barbecue sauce. I'm just going to pour it over the top here on that wire rack. I'm just going to use kind of like a brush to fully spread it over, okay? That's really important here. Again, just like the seasoning, we want to fully coat these, get them fully covered as best as possible. You know, it's not the end of the world if you don't get every single nook and cranny, but for best results, you do want to get everything covered here. That's real important. Then we're going to go back onto the smoker. So like I said, these were at 165 internal. So I sauced them and then threw them back on until they hit 180. And that gave that sauce a little bit of time just to tack up, you know, harden on there and really form a nice layer and coating. And it actually was an incredible decision to do this. I was really excited about the result here. As you can see, that smoke is still rolling low and slow, just flowing over that chicken like it's supposed to. Then pull it off once I hit that 180 internal. Just look at these. Doesn't that look delicious and delectable? I'm liking the little bits of char on there. The very end, I moved the drumsticks kind of close to the opening for the firebox. So if any flames came through, it kind of licked the chicken right quick. And the results were perfect. It's exactly what I wanted. Really excited about this. You know, barbecue chicken is so easy to cook. And when you have a delicious seasoning and barbecue sauce like I did today, it's just super easy to elevate your meal, make some delicious food. Like if you have a smoker, you could do this too. Honestly, if you have a regular barbecue, you can do this too. You don't need that smoky flavor. And if you don't have a smoker, you can always invest in just what's called like a pellet pipe. You can put some pellets in there and it will burn and add the smoke flavor on a gas grill as well. And there you go. You can see these were juicy, loosey, perfectly cooked, just absolutely delectable. Pretty stoked about this one, guys. Really enjoyed this cook. Had a nice time doing it and was glad I was able to share it with y'all. Man, chicken drumsticks are just amazing. If you like this kind of food, make sure you like and subscribe. I always drop recipes like this. Thanks again for watching. It means a lot. Take care, stay safe, and I hope you have a great day. Let's start from the top. What's up? What's up? It's your boy Saucy Rossy, and today I grilled up this delicious chicken on a pineapple. I used that pineapple to just tenderize the chicken, and it worked perfectly. This recipe is so simple and so basic, and it's made for you to follow at home. So make sure you like and subscribe, smash that button so you get notifications, and come on along for the ride. I'm the Canadian king of backyard barbecue. What's up? All right, let's get started by making a little compound butter. This is really straightforward. I put gravel and maple bourbon dry rub into some butter, gave it a really good mix, and that basically made me some homemade seasoning butter. That's perfect for seasoning up this chicken. All you got to do is give it a real good mix and just kind of work it in there and incorporate it. Then once it looks like this, you're good to go. So we're going to grab that chicken and we're going to kind of loosen up the skin. As you can see, I actually tore the skin. I didn't really mean to, but hey, life happens. If you end up tearing the skin, don't worry too much about it. Just try and be delicate, not tear it too much. We're going to go in on the legs, in on the breast. We're going to rub it all on the outside of the chicken. Make sure to get those wings fully coated as well, and the legs. We're going to kind of pull that skin back where we ripped it, just to kind of like form it over, just, fix it up a little bit. And we're also going to go into the inside of the chicken, in the cavity, with some of this butter. That's going to be real important here. We want to make sure we get every nook and cranny on this chicken prepped. Next, you're going to take a pineapple and like slice it downwards like this. We're making a little bit of like a podium. Okay, and we're going to get the chicken propped up right on top of that. Now, pineapple is really good for tenderizing chicken. So I thought this might be a good way to maybe, barbecue it. And like I said before, it turned out perfectly. This is how I ran it. I ran it in my Napoleon charcoal grill with 2 charcoal baskets, each filled with Kingsford briquettes. I had them fully going from my charcoal chimney. I wanted this to be nice and hot. And as you can see, I evenly spaced out the charcoal baskets so that I could plop down the chicken directly in between. Now, what's really important here is with these charcoal baskets, I don't have charcoal in the center sitting up against the edge like really intensely, because there's going to be a lot of heat from there. So as you can see, the back of the charcoal baskets are actually piled a little bit higher with those briquettes. But hey, that's not too complicated. You can handle this. It's not that crazy. So we're going to go ahead and make ourselves a little bit of a barbecue sauce. I got my cast iron dish here. I'm going to throw in about half a cup of ketchup or so, a couple dashes of Worcestershire, some squirts of mustard, some apple cider vinegar. We're going to go in with some brown sugar, and then we're going to come back in with those 2 seasonings we had earlier, gravel and maple bourbon by Cuso Cuts. We're going to give that a real good mix. You can see there, I actually have it sitting inside the barbecue here. I really wanted to heat up this sauce before I applied it, and this was the perfect way. Now, I'm using my barbecue mop to evenly distribute this. This mop just really helps for glazing chicken. It's such a nice tool, but it's not necessary. One of the really nice things about it, though, is it lets me get nice and close to the chicken when it's in that coal bed. I mean, if I'm sticking my hands in there with a regular brush, I'm going to get burnt. So this nice little mop really does the trick. And as you can see here, I've glazed on 2 layers of barbecue sauce. And at this point, I'm just waiting until that chicken passes 165 internal. That's going to be the perfect temperature to pull this off and just enjoy. We all know chicken's regulations, 165 is the minimum requirement. So as soon as it gets close to that, I like to pull it off to try and keep it as juicy and as tender as possible. Now, one thing I'll mention here, that citrus pineapple flavor is really a nice layer of flavor that gets added to the chicken that I wasn't expecting. I was thinking this might be more of a gimmick, having the chicken sit directly on the pineapple, but I was blown away at how much of like the juice and the flavor transferred into the chicken. It was actually delicious and delectable, like a 10 out of 10. And I actually am definitely going to make this type of chicken again because of just how juicy and tender it was. So we passed 165 internal. The legs were reading at about 180. I decided to pull it off. As you can see, that little pineapple podium looked absolutely delicious and smelled incredible. So I'm going to set that aside for just a moment here, and we're going to slice into this chicken. And as you can see, this is the exact result I was looking for. Tender, juicy chicken. Scrumptious. Nice and covered in that barbecue sauce. Just looking immaculate. Man, oh man, this is such a simple recipe. I highly suggest you give it a shot. Thank you so much for watching. And remember, guys, barbecue for life. Like and subscribe, and check out all my other videos. Take care. Stay safe. Have you ever had one of those cravings you need to satisfy? Well, these sweet chili chicken wings were exactly that. What's up? It's your boy Saucy Rossy, the Canadian king of backyard barbecue. And I just was eating these Doritos sweet chili heat the other day and it hit me. I needed to have some sweet chili chicken wings. This is such a straightforward recipe. It's so simple. It's like 3 or 4 ingredients and just a grill. Let's talk about it. I'm starting off with some delicious sassy chicken. This is by Royal Nova Company. They're based out of Quispamsis, New Brunswick. I love their products. This is fantastic on chicken. If you're not familiar, I highly suggest you check them out. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure to fully cover these chicken wings. I mean, you can see right there. That is a good helping of seasoning on there. Not too much, just right to cover every nook and cranny. Next, I'm getting some hickory from Furtado Farms. I'm going to use 2 little pieces just like this. Nothing crazy. We're going to fire up the Napoleon charcoal grill. I'm going to use some Kingsford briquettes, and we're just going to get this thing going and plop those 2 pieces of hickory right into the coal bed. Next, I'm going to set up my cast iron grill grate up high inside my Napoleon charcoal grill. I want to give a little bit of space between that coal bed and these chicken wings. Then I simply just lay everything out. This is not complicated, guys. Give everything space. That's what's really important here. Now, frankly, in this cook, I didn't pay enough attention to the chicken wings. I'll be open and honest with you. The ones that were in the center underneath those pieces of wood got a little more heat and got a little crispier than I'd like. But frankly, they weren't burnt and they were still delicious. So there's nothing to be worried about. Just be cautious of the chicken that's directly above the hunks of wood if you're throwing that in there. As you can see, there's a little bit of a flame. Nothing crazy, but it was enough to add just a little extra char to a couple of the chicken wings. So all you really have to do, though, to avoid that is simply flip them and move them around. The ones that are in the center, we simply move them to the outer skirts. The ones that are on the outer skirt, we move them into the center. And as you can see, that flame is still coming up, licking that chicken, hitting it with a little bit of char. Nothing too crazy. And yeah, you just want to move it around. The ones that are in the center, we're just going to move them out of that flame. It's nothing crazy at all. Now, keeping your lid open will build that flame. So make sure you bring it down. And this is what's going to happen. You're going to get some delicious charred chicken wings. These were fantastic, but we weren't done. I still had that intense craving for some sweet chili heat in my life, and I knew that there was only one way to get it. I went down to my local grocery store, Sobeys, and I just picked up a bottle from the Asian section. It's really straightforward, guys. Like, these flavors are already available. By the way, don't these chicken wings look immaculate? Oh yeah, that mahogany color, a little bit of char on there, seriously perfect. So took these off the grill, brought them upstairs, and got them ready for a little bit of that sauce. I'll show you what I mean. Here it is. I gave it a quick wang jangle to make sure nothing was stuck together. You know, wang jangling simply when you toss your chicken wings around. And I don't know how to say this. I think it's Arroy D. Their sweet chili sauce for chicken, as it says right there. I just dumped some of this in. It was that basic, guys. Like, the recipe is basically done here. Give it a mix. That's it. Delicious chicken wings, charred with a little bit of hickory wood. That smoke flavor added in is a 10 out of 10. Hit with this sweet chili sauce, man, we're bringing that flavor up to the next level. And seriously, just look at this little chicken wing here, glazed to perfection, seasoned perfectly. This flavor was out of this world. And I'm so stoked I had the craving for sweet chili heat, because isn't it just delicious? Man, ever since I broke into one of those Dorito bags, I haven't been able to look back. But anyway, thanks so much for taking the time to watch my video. My name's Saucy Rossy. I'm the Canadian king of backyard barbecue, and you should like and subscribe. I'm constantly dropping these really basic, simple recipes that you can mimic at home for better food. So take care and stay safe. What's up? What's up? It's your boy Saucy Rossy, the Canadian king of backyard barbecue, and I had some leftover brisket, and I knew I had to make an incredible brisket sub sandwich. This was so simple and delicious. Let's go along for the ride. Oh, buddy, you're going to really enjoy this one. So like and subscribe, join my community of home cooks, get yourself some simple ingredients, and let's make a simple recipe. Starting off, I just picked up some submarine sandwiches from my local grocery store, Sobeys. Nothing complicated here. As you can see, I ripped out just a little bit of the interior bread because I'm really packing this one full with meat today. This is some leftover leftover brisket that I had kicking around in my fridge from a local KCBS event I participated in. Actually, to be clear, it was my first KCBS event. I got placed 8 out of 15th, and I'm really proud of myself. But that's not what today is about. Today is about the leftover brisket and what I'm doing with it. So as you can see here, I clearly shredded it up with a little bit of the sauce that I had available, and buddy, it was delectable. I threw on some amazing cheese. It's just medium cheddar, nothing complicated here. Just shredded it down, then some shallots and some pickled hot peppers. This is going to be a really straightforward sandwich. There's not much to this. We're just making sure we get both sides evenly distributed. That's super important here. We want to make sure those toppings aren't going to be bunched up in one spot. Spread it all out. Make sure you're moving stuff around and making sure everything is laid out perfect. You really want even distribution for this sandwich. That's what's going to be best. Next, you can use the barbecue sauce of choice. Today, I'm using Sweet with a Little Heat by the Royal Nova Company. Now, if you've been watching my videos, I'm sure you've seen me use this sauce before. It's that sweet and heat sauce that just perfect, based out of Atlantic Canada as well. So bam, that's a win. I threw this onto a little tray and threw it into the oven at 350 degrees. I don't know, for probably about 4 or 5 minutes, just to get all that cheese melted down, the bread crisped up just a little bit. It's really straightforward, guys. All you got to do, fold it in half and give it a quick press. Bam, we're basically ready to go. Now, I decided to kind of do this deli style and give it a quick wrap and then slice through. And I think that was the right choice here. Made it a little bit cleaner to eat. Just kind of like organized it and gave it a little bit of a nice presentation. I'm okay with it. Check this out. So, like I said, sliced it right down the middle, fold it open, and bam, you have yourself one of the most delicious sandwiches you're ever going to eat. So if you're lucky enough to have some leftover brisket chilling in the fridge, I highly recommend you try this out. It's a 10 out of 10. That's it, guys. Pretty straightforward sandwich. Thanks a bunch for watching. Really appreciate it. Hope you like and subscribe. Join my community of home cooks. Comment below if you liked it. Take care. Hot chili pulled pork pineapple bowls, grilled to perfection. What's up? What's up? It's your boy Saucy Rossy, the Canadian king of backyard barbecue, and I grilled these delicious stir-fry pineapple bowls with leftover pulled pork that I had hanging around in my fridge. It was absolutely delectable. Make sure you like and subscribe. Come on along for the ride. Watch this entire recipe because it's really simple for you to do at home. All you need to do to start off is get yourself a pineapple. We're going to slice it right through the center. You can remove the leaves at the top if you'd like with the knife first. I decided to leave it on there for presentation. Now, what we're going to do here is we're just going to cut some slits into the pineapple right around the edge, trying to form, kind of like a bowl shape. Then we're going to run our knife through it both vertically and horizontally, cutting little squares in there. Grab yourself a spoon, and we're just going to hollow this out. It's pretty straightforward. It will take you a minute or two, nothing too crazy. Make sure you sip on that juice. There's so much juice inside of a pineapple, so don't let that go to waste. Once you're done with that, it should look like this. Give it a quick pet dry. It's better for when you put it onto the barbecue. Helps it not be as soggy. Anyway, we're going to go onto the barbecue with a huge mixture of just whatever we got in the fridge. Today, I'm throwing in what was left from that pineapple, some red bell peppers, a jalapeno pepper, garlic, shallots, rice, and a little bit of lime. That lime is going to add that citrus to help cut this down a little bit. It's going to be perfect. I'm also throwing in some pulled pork. This pulled pork was left over from a local KCBS competition I entered. Pretty thrilled about that. Now today I'm using a barbecue spice rub by the South Shore Sea Salt Company. I thought that would mix perfectly here, so I went ahead and gave it a nice generous seasoning over top. Then, you know me, we're going to wang jangle all this together. Take those ingredients, make sure they're getting that seasoning on there. We want to fully cover it. Next, I'm going to use Stingin' Hot Chili Garlic Sauce by the Halifax Honey Company. This is what's really going to bring this to the next level. My goodness, we're going to go ahead and just add as much as you would like in. This stuff is hot, so be careful, but I really, really enjoy it. So we're going to add a lot in. And again, we're going to wang jangle everything together. We want that sauce to cover all of our ingredients. So be patient, let the heat do its work. It will thin out that sauce and it will get covered on absolutely everything. Once you hit that point, We just need to plate it up. It's pretty straightforward. You're going to take that stir fry and you're going to plate it right inside of that pineapple, which you've been grilling on your grill grates alongside this entire time. Look at those char marks. Doesn't that look insane? This just looks so perfect and delicious. It was such a simple recipe. It was so easy. Just took all the veggies I had left over, some rice, and that pulled pork. Heated it all up together, added in that seasoning by Saucy sea salt, and that hot chili garlic sauce by the Halifax Honey Company. I'm not exaggerating, guys. It's simple recipes like this that really make you elevate your home cooking. So I want you all to try this at home. Let me know in the comments below how it went. Tag me on Instagram or TikTok if you actually go through with it. I'd love to see how it turned out. And man, oh man, I really hope you enjoy this as much as I did. Those tropical flavors were just banging, bud. Oh, that little bit of heat from the chili garlic sauce, man. This was a 10 out of 10, and I highly recommend, if you're going to try any of my recipes, you try this one. And always remember, barbecue for life. What's up, what's up? It's your boy Saucy Rossy, and I'm using a pellet grill today to get extra smoky chicken wings. This is such a simple recipe, super easy to follow, and it's the best way, in my opinion, to get the delicious smoke flavor when you have a pellet grill and you're trying to get some good chicken wings. Look at these. Doesn't that look delicious? Man, these turned out perfect. This is so simple and easy to follow, so make sure you do. By the way, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. Come on along for the ride. I'll show you exactly how to cook up chicken wings that look just like this. Super basic, super easy. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram and TikTok. All right, so to begin, we're going to grab ourselves some chicken wings. Nothing special here. Just go to the store, get them, buy whichever ones you'd like. I got mixed flats and drums. I pat them dry with some paper towel. And personally, I find throwing them on a wire rack is the best option when you're putting them on a smoker. Now, I'm using Maritime Madness Louisiana Cajun seasoning here. This dry rub is fantastic. It's not that spicy, but it's got a little bit of kick to it, and I really enjoy it. And as you can see, I'm fully coating up these chicken wings. I want to make sure to get all sides, flipping it over, making sure to re-season because this side's completely bare, and these are just going to be a 10 out of 10. Now, I'm going to leave these on for maybe, 30 minutes kind of in the fridge. And that's going to let these chicken wings just kind of absorb some of that flavor from the dry rub. Now, when you feel comfortable, go ahead, pull them out of the fridge, and then we're going to put them right onto the pellet smoker. We don't even want the pellet smoker on yet. You're going to close the lid, and that's when you're going to turn it on. Because when you do this, when it's coming up to temp, it pours out smoke. And when you run it at 400 degrees, like we're going to do today, it really doesn't dump that much smoke. So by setting the chicken wings on there right from the very get-go, it's going to add a little bit of extra smoke to them, and it's just going to add that extra nice flavor. Speaking of, today I'm using a mix of maple, oak, and hickory pellets. I thought that would be a really nice blend for chicken. It pretty much always is. I really enjoy that blend. And we want to make sure we're cooking the chicken fully. So like I always say in all my videos, we're making sure to bring it up past 165 internal. Now, I'm actually bringing it closer to 180, but that's whatever is up to you. As long as you go past 165, that's what matters. Now, I added in some fierce habanero hot sauce from Maritime Madness into a bowl of butter. Now, I'm going to be extra clear here. I went about 2 parts butter to 1 part hot sauce. And I didn't even mix it fully to incorporate, because when I brushed it on like this, I wanted that heat to not only melt down that hot sauce, but also melt down the globs of butter too. I thought that would add a nice velvety finish here, and it would just be so immaculate and just pristine, man. This was just going to be 10 out of 10. I really enjoyed this idea. And you can see here, that pellet smoker, when you get the lid off, it's just going to start dumping out smoke. So that's going to extra help. So don't worry if that starts happening. All you got to do is just make sure you're checking your temperatures. Here we are. We've got it glazed, that nice butter hot sauce mixture all over top. We've got these seasoned with that delicious Louisiana Cajun seasoning by Maritime Madness. And man,
these are just prepped. Now, once you get them past 165, if you want to cook them like I did, I go another 20 minutes or so. And this is what it looks like. Just serious, man. That sauce tacked on perfectly. That butter made that skin just so velvety and ready to just be nibbled right through. If you're having trouble with chicken skin, butter is your hero. You can lean on it so much to get the perfect bite. Man, I really was psyched about this. It was a great recipe, and it was just so simple. I mean, just look at these. Don't they look immaculate? I was really psyched on it. Now, if you're into spice, these will kick your butt. That hot sauce I used by Maritime Madness, Fierce Habanero, is epic, man. I'm not crazy about intense hot sauces, but not only did it taste good, my mouth was on fire for like 15 minutes after. I haven't felt like that in a while, but it wasn't a bad taste. I want to be clear about that. So check it out. Look at these chicken wings. Man, pulled off right at about 180, 185. They were kind of reading about 182, 183. That's probably a better way to word it. A little bit further than I should have taken them. I was aiming for 180, but you can see here they're not like falling apart or anything. Like, man, that butter just helped it crisp up so much. So many little pieces of char and just flavor all throughout. I'm really hype on this one, man. Chicken wings have been in my barbecue rotation a lot lately, and for good reason. When you have a good recipe like this one that helps you just get that serious flavor, you can bring that heat while also just, having a really nice taste. That's what's important, man. At the end of the day, if you enjoy your barbecue, that's what I want to hear and see. So I hope you try this recipe out. It's so simple, so delicious, and super, super worth it. It's basically like a buffalo kind of hot sauce that I made here. A little bit different because it's with the habanero. I normally use like Frank's or something. Anyway, thanks for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe. Follow me on Instagram and TikTok. Make sure you stay safe, take care, and enjoy some really good barbecue. I hope you like this recipe. So much fun. Take care. Have a great day.
In this video, I'm going to show you the easiest way to make party ribs on a pellet smoker. Man, this is such a simple recipe, and these ribs were so packed with flavor. That honey glaze on there was just a 10 out of 10. So if you like good barbecue, make sure you like and subscribe. Join my community of home cooks. Follow me on Instagram and TikTok. Let's go through this simple recipe that you can follow at home as well. What's up? It's your boy Saucy Rossy, the Canadian king of backyard barbecue. And the second I tried this recipe out, I knew I had to share it with you guys. I've always been skeptical of party ribs, but I finally gave in and tried them out. And I'm stoked that I did because I was being stupid not trying party ribs. They totally have an advantage. I mean, when you take a rack of ribs just like this and separate them, you should probably be smarter than me and use a better knife, like a chef's knife, not a paring knife. I don't know why I did that. Anyway, you're going to individually cut up these ribs, but then we get to season all sides. Keep that in mind. That's why I went with Heath Ryle's garlic butter dry rub along with his cherry dry rub. One is sweet and one is savory. And I think together they're going to have a fantastic flavor profile combination. So there they are. One's the garlic butter dry rub and one's the cherry dry rub. And I went ahead and hit the bottom of them, then flipped all them over and then did the exact same thing on the top. Some of that garlic butter, some of that cherry dry rub seasoning. At this point, I had a bunch of extra, dry rub on my little board. So I just kind of jangled things around and made sure they got fully coated just like that. Doesn't that look fantastic? It's going to be perfect, bud. Let's fire up the pellet smoker and get these out on there at 275. Today, we're running a blend of maple, oak, and hickory. Now, when I said 275 there, my specific smoker only does 250 or 300. So for this, I actually did 300 because ribs, where they have the bone in there, can take a little more heat. You're allowed to not be afraid with them. They can take that brunt force and get that smoky flavor in no time at all. So there you go. Laid them out, separated them so that smoke's going to go all around, really letting them cook. And I'm probably not even going to spritz them until an hour and a half in. Now for a spritzing, you can use apple cider vinegar like me, or some orange juice. You can use beer as well, or if you just want to hit them with some water, that's perfectly fine.
I always recommend if you are hitting them with water, just be cautious because sometimes it can like wash away dry rub. So you want to make sure you got a good little cook on there first to let it adhere a little bit, okay? So just be cautious about that. Now, again, we're going low and slow here. I got this set at 300. If you have a 275 setting, that's perfectly fine. What you really want to watch for here is just when you're just getting that perfect bark. We're going to go ahead and flip over the ribs at that point. At that point, I want to make sure both sides get completely cooked. I want to flip them upside down. Any fat that's remaining can render and drip off. Oh, bud, but it's going to be absolutely scrumptious. Okay, so check it. As I'm just cooking this, we're going to rotate a couple of them. If you notice any of them are getting a little bit of char on one side and maybe not the other, give it a quick flip. Don't hesitate. Moving them around is real important. Okay, that's the one thing about party ribs, where it's not a huge rack. They do take heat on a bit more intensely. They can get a little more charred. Char is fantastic, but trust me, too much char is not what people want. So as we come close to about 2.5 hours, that's when I flip them upside down like this. You can see those bones exposed. That bone pull is starting in there. They're looking friggin' banging, bud. I'm actually super stoked on this. I really like this method because it's probably about half the time, but you get basically the same results. Already separated, man, oh man, if you wanted to throw a sauce on these, they're ready to just toss into a bowl and give them just a quick, wang jangle, as I like to say. But today, I'm going in with some brown sugar, some knobs of butter. I don't really have a measurement for the butter. Do that to your heart's desire. Just don't go too crazy. You know how butter is. But what's important is a good honey. Now, normally I'd use hot honey by the Halifax Honey Company, but I wanted something nice and sweet today. So I went with their just regular wildflower honey, and it was absolutely delectable. So let's go ahead and wrap this up. We're going to let that smoke for probably about, another 30 minutes. Then when we're done that 30-minute timer, we're going to pull off that tinfoil and give them maybe 5 to 10 more minutes just to tack up with that honey and that sauce that we threw in there, that butter, all that stuff. We want to hit that with a little bit of smoke. Nothing too crazy. That's why we went with that blend of pellets that I mentioned earlier. Oh, buddy, as these just smoke down, I keep getting more and more excited. Basically, they're ready to get taken off right here. I did flip them around, move it so the sauce would kind of get on all sides. That's super important. You don't want to let these things sit still because as they move around, we're going to coat them more and more in that sauce, and it's just going to be so delectable. So like I mentioned, let's go ahead, pull these off and check them out because they're going to be friggin' banging, bud. Let's go. All right, so after 3.5 hours, we're pulling them off the pellet grill. We're bringing them up to the kitchen, giving them a serious inspection. Oh, buddy, doesn't that look unbelievable? If you're wondering, they didn't fall off the bone, but the second you bite into them, they just release from the bone. It's exactly what you're looking for in barbecue. A lot of people overcook their ribs. I'm not into that. I like there to be a little bit of tug when you have to bite it off the rib. That's important to me. But bud, when you bring it up to like 193, 195 internal, oh man, that's seriously delectable barbecue. Oh, anyway, thanks for taking the time for watching here. I hope you learned something from this video. Let me know in the comments below if you're going to try this. And if you do, make sure you tag me on Instagram and TikTok. But until then, stay safe, take care, and have a great day. In this video, I'm going to go through how I meal prep chicken on my barbecue weekly so I can have lunches at work. It's really straightforward, simple concepts here, super easy recipe. So make sure you watch through, like and subscribe, and let me know in the comments below if you think barbecue chicken like this is a good idea for meal prep. So let's start from the beginning. Basically, each weekend, I cook up about 2 chickens. And that's basically so that I have lunch at work throughout the week, Eat it with a pack of Mr. Noodles, maybe a salad, whatever. One of the really nice things about this recipe is it's just seasoning and sauce. There's not really much else here. So you can switch it up on a weekly basis. This week, I'm using maple bacon chili seasoning from the Coastal Cookhouse. They're local to Nova Scotia. I'm from Nova Scotia, so I had to use this seasoning. As you can see here, I start by hitting the bottoms, then I run over top. If you really want to get into the seasoning, then you throw some underneath the skin as well if you want it to be absolutely perfect. but that's not required here. Again, this is just meal prep, simple lunches at work. So let's go ahead and throw it on the grill. Now today I'm using my Napoleon charcoal grill. I'm going to start this off with the grill grate as low as possible. And the reason for that, well, I want the skin to be right next to the coals. We want to get some crispy skin right from the get-go before we move it on to kind of like an indirect heat. Okay. So you want to keep your eye here. It's also a good idea to rotate these as well. I didn't fully rotate. If you catch a glimpse of that one up there, it is a little more charred than the others, but these are still looking absolutely fantastic. Everything about them. Oh, buddy, you get a little bit of char onto that skin. Then all you have to do is flip them back over so the bone side, or the side that's not skin, is facing downwards. And then I take my grill grate and I set it to the highest setting. That's not indirect heat, but it's less impact heat. By having that space in between the food there, that's probably the best way for this to cook through properly. Now, I am cooking whole half chicken pieces here. Normally, if I'm doing like a leg, I like to aim for about 185 and a chicken breast 165. So you kind of have to balance it out here. You don't want to overcook anything. And really, the best way to do that is simply using a meat thermometer. You poke it into the breast, you poke it into the leg, and you just monitor things as they're cooking along. That's what's really important when you're cooking barbecue chicken, not just letting it go all willy-nilly. If you don't pay attention properly, it can definitely have negative repercussions. That's why I'm always out here with a thermometer, regularly checking and just keeping an eye on things, making sure no flames are coming up and overcharring or burning anything. I mean, I say that now, but if you look at that back piece there, the flames definitely came up and gave that some char. But there's no issue about that. All you have to do is peel off that little piece of skin. It's not that complicated. I mean, I'm putting sauce on here. It's okay if a little bit of skin is missing. And that's all I did. I simply just peeled off some of that extra char up there on that top breast. I left the other skin pieces the exact same as they were. Then I drizzled on a delicious Carolina barbecue sauce. This one is specifically from Earl's Signature Sauces. They're also based out of Halifax, Nova Scotia. And I really, really love that Carolina barbecue flavor profile when it's on chicken. I don't know what it does. It just tantalizes me, guys. I get so revved up and jazzed up and ready to go, bud. Anyway, we're just going to let this tack on there, cook down a little bit, and it's looking almost flawless and fantastic. So at this point, we've got our seasoning on there. We've got our sauce on there. We've cooked it through to the desired temperature. We've also got some char on the skin and got it nice and crispy. Basically, we're ready to go. This is all you need to do. So once you pass that 165 internal and you get things exactly how you want them, because remember, this is your lunch you're going to be eating, so you eat it the way you want it. We're going to pull it off. And this is the way I prefer my chicken. Oh, buddy, I call that perfection, man. Everything about it, that crispy skin, that delicious sauce, that unreal seasoning. But everything about this was delectable and a 10 out of 10. So look, if you're still here chilling, make sure you comment below. Let me know what you thought about this little meal prep idea. Are you going to try it yourself? And if you do try it yourself, make sure you tag me on Instagram and TikTok. But until then, I hope you're having a wonderful day. Really appreciate you watching my recipe videos. You take care, stay safe, and until again. In this video, I'm going to show you how to smoke haddock, make a delicious cream cheese smoked haddock breakfast sandwich. The perfect way to start the day. This recipe is so easy and beginner friendly. Anyone with a smoker should be trying this. And honestly, you don't even need a smoker. You can just cook some haddock and still make this, and it's going to be absolutely delectable. So make sure you like and subscribe. Join my community of home cooks. Comment below if you think this recipe would be delicious, and make sure to send this to any friends you have that like seafood. Starting off, I got the Coastal Cookhouse Maple Bacon Chili Dry Rub. This is made here locally in Nova Scotia. Absolutely love buying local. Check this out. I'm going to seriously season this haddock. Get it on both sides. That's real important here. With seafood, I like adding a generous amount of seasoning. It does have a little bit of a fish taste to it, and if you can't handle that, well, you can always bury it in some maple bacon chili seasoning. I do enjoy the taste of seafood though, so this is going to be absolutely flavor packing today. Now, I'm out on the grill, specifically my pellet smoker. And I'm just going to throw on a blend of hickory, oak, and maple pellets. All of those are very subtle. There's nothing too intense there, and that pairs perfectly with seafood. You don't really want an intense smoke because it really clings to seafood, in my opinion. But that's my opinion, and to each their own. You can use whatever wood you like smoking. Now, if you don't have a smoker, you can just use a regular grill. All we're trying to do is cook this fish to 145 internal. And if you have a little meat thermometer and you can probe it periodically, that's the best way to get your reading here. Now, if you're wondering, hey, I don't have a meat thermometer, what amount of time is this going to be? I don't know. Probably about 15 to 17 minutes or so. And I have my smoker running at 300 degrees. Okay, that's real important here. Now, you could clock it down to like a 250 or a 225. All that really matters is that you get it past 145 internal. Very, very important. You really want to make sure you get it there. Now, also, one thing I'm going to note, some fillets with fish will have a much thinner end that's closer to the tail. You want to aim that away from your heat source. You really want to cook the fish evenly. So the thicker parts of the fish, add that at the section of the grill the most heat comes through. Now, I don't know your grill, but I know you're a grill master, so I'm expecting you to know where the hot spots are. Just keep your fish's thin end away from there and you'll be glorious. Now, check these out. Smoking them along. They're getting that nice color on there, looking absolutely immaculate. Really excited about this. This is going to be absolutely banging. You can see that smoke just pouring over top. Yeah, that's super exciting for me. We're getting layers of flavor built on here. And you can see too, that dry rub is getting a little bit of color on there as well. That normally means those seasonings are just kind of like unlocking extra flavor. Man, oh man, it's going to be absolutely delectable. So at this point, it hit 145 degrees internal. So I pulled it off of the smoker, brought it right into the kitchen. Let's take a quick peek at this. Doesn't that look absolutely fantastic? Nice and juicy. You flip it over, you can see all that fish fat. Fish fat's nice and healthy. It's really good. I really, really enjoy it. And check this out. Man, oh man, this is busting. Looking fantastic. All flaky. Oh, this was perfectly cooked. So let's walk through how I actually prepare the actual cream cheese filling, because that stuff is absolutely delicious and just a 10 out of 10. One last quick peek at this. Man, this fish cooked perfectly. I was super stoked on that. All right, get yourself half a block of Philadelphia cream cheese, or really any cream cheese will work. I use just half a block though of some Philly cream cheese. Then I put in the fish, just layered it right on top. You don't need to do anything crazy here. We're about to mix this all together. I diced up some green onion from my garden. And then this is my little secret weapon, gourmet mustard from Atlantic Mustard Mill, specifically smoke and barbecue. So you know I'm going to love it. I mean, just look at that fine grain mustard. It looks incredible. We're going to just throw it in there and then just take your fork and mix it. This is all just going to shred up and flake up, and just take that cream cheese, that mustard, keep folding it, keep folding it, keep folding it. That's all you really need to do here. If you really want, you could use a bigger, fork, maybe two of them. If you have shredding claws, that might also work. But man, just the back of a fork is good enough. And you're going to go for like 1 to 2 minutes until it creates this, nice little paste. Then all you got to do at that point, toast some bagels and just throw it on, man. And this with a little coffee or something, oh, just seriously delectable. I love starting my day like this, getting a nice little bagel ready to go. You get some seafood in there. That cream cheese is nice and rich. The little green onions give you that little kick of refreshment there. I really dig it, man. It's seriously a 10 out of 10. And I'm not exaggerating. This is a simple home recipe you can cook yourself. You could start your day with some seafood, a nice bagel, just like this. I'm telling you, use that smoker a bit more. You're going to love it. Thanks again for watching. I really appreciate it. Make sure you like and subscribe. Follow me on Instagram and TikTok, and let me know in the comments below. Do you like this recipe? Thanks again for watching. In this video, we're going to smoke some beef ribs low and slow. We're going to build bark, we're going to render tallow, and we're going to talk all about it. What's up, what's up? It's your boy Saucy Rossy, the Canadian king of backyard barbecue, coming at you with another simple recipe on your smoker that you can do at home too. So don't be afraid. Follow along, try this yourself, tag me on Instagram, TikTok, here on YouTube, really anywhere, and I hope that you enjoy this recipe. comment below if you like it. Make sure to share it with any of your friends that like beef ribs, and let's get into this. Check it out. At my local grocer Sobeys, I found an $8 rack of ribs. Now, you kind of need to understand what you're getting into with an $8 rack of ribs. But to begin, I'm using a simple barbecue spice. This citrus forward barbecue spice by Big Cove Foods in Coldstream Clear. I just knew I wanted to try it on these beef ribs. I thought it would be perfect. So I went ahead after trimming off a little bit of that fat that you're seeing there. And by the way, $8 rack of ribs, we're seeing a lot of fat on here. So we definitely got to trim some of that down. And I'm hoping that it doesn't fully render like through between the bones, but we'll get to that here shortly. Let's go ahead. I realized partway through seasoning that I had a little too much fat on that cap too. So went ahead, pulled that off, got all that fat off there, and you can save that, right? We can render that down into tallow as well. Check this out though. So we're going ahead, a second layer of that barbecue spice right on top of these beef ribs. I think that's going to be super crucial here. It's really going to help us build a fantastic bark. That's pretty much what we're aiming for more than anything when we go ahead and smoke beef ribs. You want bark and you want to render out that tallow. So let's go ahead. We're going to run out to the pellet smoker. I'm going to set it at 250 degrees. And today, like always, I'm using a blend of maple, oak, and hickory pellets. I really like that blend. All of those are mild woods that do not leave too intense of a flavor. And together, I personally believe they blend fantastic. Seriously, check this out. Just place your rack of ribs down. That's basically all you got to do. We can spritz it, I don't know, every hour, hour and a half with either some apple cider vinegar, apple juice, peach juice, or really anything citrusy, even water is perfectly fine. When you're doing that, you get a little bit of moisture on the outside, and smoke really clings to that moisture, dries it up, but then remains on the beef and really generates a delicious bark. So again, we're going to spritz it probably starting about 2 hours in, every hour or hour and a half or so for the entire cook. And that is super crucial here, okay? Next, we're just going to chill. That's important. Patience is key with low and slow barbecue. If you're rushing things, you're probably going to mess something up. And I'm not exaggerating. The amount of times I have simply messed up basic recipes is countless, all because I was impatient or I just had to go. If you have a meat thermometer, that's your best play. We're going to let this run low and slow all afternoon until it hits 195 to 200 internal. At that point, we're just going to pull it off, wrap it in some butcher paper to rest, and see where it takes us. However, if you want, you can, if you're not as into the smoke flavor, if you don't like it as much, then at 165 to 170 internal, you can actually wrap these beef ribs with a little bit of tallow as well, in some butcher's paper, and that will help them finish off, but just kind of take away a little bit of that extra smoky flavor. Now, personally, I'm the Canadian king of backyard barbecue. Obviously, I love that smoky flavor. So like I said, I'm doing the entire cook here without that butcher paper cover, okay, until the very, very end. I'm just going to let it rest in there. We're going to get as much smoke flavor on this as possible. Now, as we cook it, you can kind of see it almost looks like it's disintegrating. That's because the fat is rendering out. That tallow that we saw in there is just getting juicy, loosey, and leaking all over these beef ribs and inside my smoker. And that's exactly what I'm aiming for. Oh, buddy, no lie. I love beef ribs, and as they get to that 5 or 6 hour mark, the bark just has me drooling and frothing at the mouth. Man, oh man, I love these kind of beef ribs. And you can see that bone pull is now happening. It's looking glorious. We got that bark. It's looking fantastic. But still, I'm not going to stop. I'm bringing this all the way up to 195. Now, you can see here the beef ribs, they're kind of missing pieces on the inside now. What does that mean? Well, it means we've rendered out that tallow. And it's something to be mindful of when we're going to slice into this, because it's going to kind of tear apart. It's not going to have the same structure as it does when it has all that fat throughout it. Fat does hold it together. So when we've rendered it out, well, just remember that's kind of the structure we've kind of removed in a sense. Let me show you what I'm talking about. So here are the beef ribs. After I've pulled them off, put them in some butcher paper with a little bit of tallow to rest. On the outside, that bark, it might look a little dry, but you just wait until we slice into these. These are juicy, loosey, bud. Not to mention that bark looks fantastic. Oh, buddy. I just really enjoyed that bark. The mahogany on it was just a 10 out of 10. We'll come to that in just a second here. It's kind of hard to see. So let's go ahead, take the beef ribs. Whenever you're slicing into beef ribs, you don't want to use a serrated knife. But since these had already fallen apart so much, it did look like I used a serrated knife. I mean, these were kind of wacky, but just check them out. Absolutely delicious. There it is after I took a big old bite out of one. Oh, yeah, that was so friggin' good. So moist, tender, and juicy, and just delicious, man. Beef ribs are fantastic like this. And the best solution, I think, is just rip it off the bone. You're going to shred it. That way you can make a sandwich, a taco. You can put it on top of poutine. Like, it doesn't matter. You're really going to enjoy this. It's going to be seriously a 10 out of 10. So if you're going to try this yourself, I highly recommend you follow this recipe. And if you do, make sure you tag me on Instagram or TikTok or here on YouTube. It's all good. I really appreciate you taking the time to watch. I hope you like beef ribs like I do. I hope you enjoyed this video. Comment below if you did. Take care. Stay safe. Oh yeah, don't forget to like and subscribe. Chat soon.
In this video, we're going to pan-sear some Digby scallops. This is going to be absolutely scrumptious. Come on along for the ride. Make sure you like and subscribe. Follow me on Instagram and TikTok as well. And make sure you let me know in the comments below if you think this little scallop recipe is delicious or not. So starting off, I went to my local farmer's market and I stopped by Ocean to Plate Seafood. They're a local seafood distributor in Halifax, Nova Scotia, and they had delicious Digby scallops. I am a huge fan of Digby scallops. If you aren't familiar, Digby scallops are from the Bay of Fundy. They're harvested around Digby, Nova Scotia, where the world's highest tides create nutrient-rich waters that make the scallops especially plump and sweet. They honestly have a world-famous reputation. They're known as some of the best scallops on the planet. They're prized by chefs for their natural sweetness, size, and firm texture. They're also sustainably harvested, so that's awesome. There's got like this cold water advantage. The icy waters of the Bay of Fundy help them grow a little slower, which gives them a more denser, meatier texture compared to many more like warm water scallops. So that's really cool as well. They're fresh and local to me, which is a super huge advantage. And the culinary versatility of them, well, they're just delicious seared and grilled. You can bake them, you can smoke them. You can honestly even serve them raw as sashimi if you know what you're doing, but most chefs, they recommend a quick sear just to highlight the natural flavors and sweetness. So today, I'm just going to pat them dry and I'm going to hit them with some South Shore sea salt, chili lime sea salt. This is especially one of my favorite sea salts. I love that little chili kick. It's just mild enough though that it won't overpower the food here. These scallops are so delicious and are so sweet to begin with. I don't want to go too crazy. So I'm going to use this sea salt here with the chili in it. And I'm actually going to just add a little bit of pepper in there as well. And bud, that's going to be absolutely scrumptious. Getting this like fully covered and coated. And you can see right there. There you go. Boom. That's what we're aiming for. You know, I want this to be nice and covered, coated evenly. That's important. And then once we got that, we're basically going to get it ready for the grill. So let's get out there. Now, when you're cooking scallops, you want to get a really good sear. So I'm using a cast iron, one of my 8-inch Lodge cast irons. It's smaller, but I'm only doing up a couple scallops here. And we're going to get it nice and hot. A little bit of smoke will start coming off of it. At that point, I turned down the heat because that means the cast iron's nice and hot. And then I'm just going to place these into the oil just like this, nice and slowly, and let that oil just start cooking it, right? We want to get a nice little sear on there. It should only be a thin layer. You can see here I don't have much in the pan. And yeah, this is perfect. Absolutely scrumptious and exactly what I want to see. This is just so fragrant, man. Like right here. Oh, I'm standing there really enjoying myself. You can see all that oil just dancing around. I really have to give this a huge shout out to the Ocean to Plate seafood company that I ran into. I specifically ran into them at the Halifax Seaport Farmers Market. This is not a sponsored video. I just like totally really enjoyed these scallops, and there was only a couple dollars. Like this was like $11 or $12. They were absolutely scrumptious and totally worth it in my opinion. This would be great in so many different meals, like a nice pasta or something like that. Maybe with some potatoes and green beans. Oh, that would be absolutely delicious. So after about a minute and a half, I'm going to give them a quick flip. You can see here we got some nice sear marks on one side. And yeah, that's what we're looking for there. So we just give them a nice little flip. And then I go ahead, I add in 1 crushed clove of garlic, as well as some butter. Now, it depends on how much butter you really want here, but we're going to try and butter baste these just for the last little bit. That's going to help make them a little more tender and just juicy and super delicious, and make sure they don't dry out. That's real important with scallops. They're super, super simple to overdo. So be careful. Honestly, if you don't really know what you're doing with scallops, it's always good just to do a test run with a single scallop. That's really safe and a great way to try and get, to make sure you're at the right temperature with your whatever pan you're searing with. So check this out. I'm giving it a quick baste here. Nothing too special. Just playing it safe, letting it cook another 1.5 minutes or so. So this is like a 3-minute cook total, maybe a little bit longer, like 3 minutes, 45 seconds. I'm going to pull them off and plate them up. I think it's going to look absolutely scrumptious and delicious. I don't know about you, but these little scallops were a delectable little treat. I'm so happy that I cooked this, and I'm really happy that I found this nice little seafood spot. I'm definitely going to pick up more from them in the future. Thanks again for watching. If you like these scallops, let me know in the comments below. If you like seafood, well, again, let me know in the comments below. Don't be afraid. Like and subscribe. Follow me on Instagram and TikTok. Take care and stay safe. Welcome back to Steak School, where we break down every cut of beef so you know exactly what you're cooking and how to make it shine. Today's lesson is one of the most underrated cuts out there, the Bavette steak. You won't see it everywhere, but if you know what to ask for, this butcher's cut is an absolute hidden gem. The Bavette comes from the bottom sirloin, right near the flank and skirt. It's a long, flat cut with a very open grain structure. Its name comes from France, Bavette, and it's called the flap steak if you're in the United States, but they should be calling it Bavette. Think of it as the cousin to the flank steak, but a bit more tender and juicier if you treat it right. This cut has been a butcher's secret for years. They'd often keep it for themselves because of its rich, beefy flavor and versatility. In fact, in France, it's considered a bistro classic, usually pan-seared and served with fries and a sauce on the side. What makes the Bavette stand out is its bold flavor. It's got that deep, beefy profile that steak lovers chase, but it's not quite as heavy as a ribeye. Texture-wise, the loose grain means it can be exceptionally tender if sliced properly. But it can also turn chewy if you don't respect the grain. We'll get to that in a minute. The Bavette thrives on high heat and quick cooking. Whether you're using a cast iron pan, a flat top, or a grill, the goal is to sear it hard and build a crust while keeping the inside a good medium rare. That's about 125, 130 degrees Fahrenheit before resting. And if you want my opinion, I think you should pull it around 115. Because it's thinner than cuts like strip loin, you don't want to overdo it. A minute or two long, and it can cross into that chewy territory. This is one of those steaks where a meat thermometer is your best friend. Some pro tips with the Bavette steak: resting it. Always let the steak rest after cooking at least 5 to 10 minutes. This gives the juices time to redistribute so every bite stays juicy. Slicing against the grain is extremely important. It's absolutely critical, honestly. The Bavette has a long, visible muscular fiber. If you cut with the grain, you'll be chewing for a while. If you cut across the grain into thin slices, you'll unlock that tenderness. And finally, marinades. This steak takes on flavor beautifully because of its open grain. A simple marinade with olive oil, garlic, some herbs, or even something with citrus or soy will add layers of flavor. But it's also fantastic with just salt and pepper. This cut is versatile. You can serve it whole like a traditional steak, or slice it thin for dishes like fajitas, steak tacos, or a hearty steak sandwich. In France, it's often served bistro style with a side of fries and a peppercorn sauce. For something brighter, a chimichurri or salsa verde works perfectly with its bold beefiness. You can even use it as a centerpiece cut for sharing. Slice it on a board, serve it family style, and let people dig in. It's affordable enough that you can cook it often, but flavorful enough that it always feels like a treat. So that's the Bavette steak, a cut that's flown under the radar for far too long. It's rich, flavorful, and versatile, and when cooked and sliced properly, it's every bit as satisfying as the more expensive cuts. Next time you're at your butcher, ask for it by name. Chances are, once you try it, the Bavette will earn a permanent spot in your steak rotation. That's it for today, class. Steak school dismissed. All right, gang, I'm not joking. The Bavette steak was absolutely delectable. I cooked it just as I mentioned, went for that medium rare. Pretty sure I nailed it. Really happy about this. If I could have done anything differently, I would have gone for a little more char on the outside, but that's not the end of the world. So, how am I going to enjoy this? Of course, I'm going to throw on some chimichurri. But before we get there, let's just take one more peek at these juicy, tender slices. I love it when a steak sliced across the grain like this is just, delicious. Bud, this gets me all sorts of revved up. I can't even wait to dive into this. Check it out. Chimichurri, picked up from my local butcher as well when I picked up this steak. Super stoked that I did that. This stuff is absolutely delectable. I just spreaded it out evenly, tried to, lay things out on their side, like almost, spread these out like a deck of cards or something. And we're just going to plop a couple little splotches of this chimichurri on top and then dive right in. The chimichurri balances out that beefy flavor so much. Not saying the beefy flavor is bad in any way, shape, or form, but it's so great when you have something that cuts it perfectly. So you can just have that quick mouthful of meat, but it just is so overloaded with flavor. So thanks for taking the time to watch my Steak School series. If you enjoyed this, I already have about 8 or 9 other Steak School videos out right now. So go watch them, like and subscribe. Enjoy yourself. Enjoy some good barbecue, and make sure you check back. I'm on Instagram and TikTok as well. So if you like this stuff, jump over there, like, subscribe, follow me. Let me know in the comments below how much you love steak. Until next time, remember, barbecue for life. In this video, we're going to make a simple recipe. Pan-fried chicken with a delicious white wine reduction sauce on some pasta. This is so simple, so easy, so versatile. So make sure you watch the entire recipe and let me know in the comments below if you thought this looked delicious. Don't forget to like and subscribe and share this with any friends you have that would love some delicious chicken pasta. Holy cow, let's start from the top. It's your boy Saucy Rossy. First off, sorry that I recorded this sideways. I didn't realize that until right now. But I'm using Sassy Chicken as a dry rub by the Royal Nova Company. They make fantastic seasonings. I love Sassy Chicken as a dry rub. So here I am fully coating up these chicken thighs. There's nothing complicated here. Starting on the bottom, giving them a quick flip after patting it in, and then doing the top, right on top of that skin. You can see here, I'm not too concerned about everything being perfect because we're going to be throwing it into the pan. Now, I have a pan here, heated nice and hot. Oh, buddy, we're going to throw in a little bit of butter, then skin side down, you want to put that chicken in. We're going to get that skin nice and crispy here first. That's where we want to start. So we're going to put it in on about medium heat, and you're going to pay attention to it. We're looking for crispiness of about that level right here. I don't really have a time for you. It all depends on your stove and the heat that you have it set to, but aim for a medium heat and it should only take a few minutes. Pay attention because you don't want to overdo this. Once you have the skin with some crisp on, you're going to give them a full flip. That's going to let the underside cook, and we're going to let that go for a few minutes. Check it periodically, and it should look like this. Then again, we're going to flip it back, skin side down. Give it a second time cooking that chicken, getting it even crispier with that skin. Again, we don't go for too long, and you want to regularly pay attention. And as you can see here, I got some delicious crispy skin on the go. Now at this point, you just need to check the meat's temperature. I like throwing a lid on there just so it keeps the heat inside. And we're going to bring it up to 165 degrees internal. Once you reach that point, you can pull this off and just set the chicken thighs to the side. But you know me, I love some crispy skin. So I actually went one last time just for about 30 extra seconds with that skin down. Okay. Once you have that all done, you're going to throw a little bit of garlic and onion into the pan. Now, I don't actually show it here because I have already added a splash of some white wine in here, but you're going to cook these down just a little bit, that garlic and onion, before adding the wine, maybe 20, 30 seconds. Then you're going to add in about, whatever you think is necessary. You just want to start making a sauce. I added about half a cup, maybe quarter to a half a cup of some wine. I honestly just measured with my heart here, guys, and you can do the same if you'd like. Then I threw in some rosemary. I didn't take it off the sprue because I do want to actually take it out after the fact once I get this cooked down a little bit, okay? And we're just going to let this run. We're going to let it simmer here lightly. Then we're going to add a little bit of butter once it's reduced a little bit and cooked down. We're going to add that butter in, give it a good stir, and then bang, we got everything basically prepped. This is the sauce, guys. Like, how simple was that? Go ahead, pour some pasta noodles on top, give it a quick toss. Man, you got yourself some delicious pasta there ready to go. Oh, I didn't actually mention this. We're going to add a little bit of thyme in there as well at the very, very end, just to add that herbaceous note. Oh, it's going to be absolutely delicious and delectable. And here it is plated up. This pasta was so easy, so delicious, and just such a simple recipe. Oh, buddy, I highly recommend you try this out because it's a 10 out of 10. And if you liked this recipe, let me know in the comments below. If you're going to try it yourself, don't hesitate. Tag me on Instagram or TikTok. I'm posting all the time, so make sure you follow me everywhere. But until we meet again, take care, stay safe, have a wonderful day. In this video, we're going to make a simple hamburger recipe, but don't worry, it's going to be absolutely delicious. This is one of my favorite go-to recipes for hamburgers. Not only is it simple and quick, it comes out with such a banging flavor profile. You're going to absolutely love it. So come on along for the ride. It's your boy Saucy Rossy. Make sure you like and subscribe. Follow me on TikTok and Instagram, and comment below if you think this is a delicious recipe. Okay, let's start off. I got myself a pound of ground beef, regular ground beef. I don't prefer lean. The more fat that we have is going to be the better because we're throwing it on the charcoal grill today. So I went in with some delicious barbecue spice by the Royal Nova Company. This barbecue seasoning is a 10 out of 10. It goes perfectly with beef. So I'm going to just take these and make quarter pounder patties. That means I'm taking my pound of beef and splitting it into 4 same size, equal portion balls. Then I'm going to simply place them out like this and give them a hard slap. That's going to flatten it out. I'm basically going to, round out the edges and give it a little belly button. That belly button helps when you have it on the grill so that it doesn't actually fold around. Next, we're going to get ourselves some delicious thick cut bacon. This is some Brothers bacon that I got here in Nova Scotia. They're a local provider of cured meats, and so I thought it would be not a bad idea to give it a shot. And here I am out on the Napoleon charcoal grill. Now I've got this thing rip roaring hot, like 500 or 600 degrees. It's always really nice to have a hot grill grate whenever you're doing burgers. That's something that a lot of people don't consider. When you have hamburgers, you want to make sure those grill grates are nice and hot. If you're one of those people that loves throwing their hamburgers on right away, next time, let your grill heat for about 5 minutes beforehand. You'll notice the difference. Trust me on this one. You can also see here, I have the bacon on indirect heat. It's not over the coals because that bacon would drip way too much grease way too quick and possibly even start a fire. So you got to be careful with this, guys. Remember, charcoal grilling can be a little bit dangerous if you're not careful. But check this out. These burgers are just getting that perfect
sear on there. I'm actually super stoked about this. So let's go ahead, fast forward a little bit, get this to the point where we've almost got this done. This is where you need to really pay attention. You don't want it to over char. That's super important here. On a charcoal grill, when you've got juicy burgers dripping down into the coal bed, it's called char broiling. And what it ends up doing is it accelerates the flames. You can see them coming up and kissing that meat. This is a delicious way to get some fantastic flavor on your burgers, but it is very important for you to be aware that it is your fire growing. That grease is flammable. That's why you hear the term grease fire. So you want to make sure that you're paying attention here, because the burgers can totally get too overdone really quickly. So we've basically finished cooking everything here. We got that bacon nice and cooked up from indirect heat. We got these burgers with some good char on there, but we didn't overdo it. Ooh, by the way, I forgot to mention this, but I melted cheese onto the top of the burgers. I just didn't capture a video of it. My bad. But this is the cheese I used. So what I actually did was I put a little bit of butter onto these buns, threw them down on that hot grill grate to let them toast for just a moment, then brought it off to plate it. So when I'm plating it up, I love to have a hot sauce or a barbecue sauce on my burgers. And today I'm going with kind of a little best of both worlds there. It's not a hot sauce, but it's definitely got some heat. It's the sweet with a little heat barbecue sauce by the Royal Nova Company. And there you go. You can see that cheese that I melted onto these patties. Absolutely scrumptious. This is going to be delicious. And this is how I do up my burgers. Pretty straightforward. We got some barbecue sauce on the top, throw on some sliced tomato, some sliced onion. You know, who doesn't love some onion on a burger? Oh, buddy. I honestly have only recently stopped overloading my burgers with onion, but bud, I love onion. Anyway, sorry, to continue. Some green leaf lettuce, and we're just going to take that and fold it up. And look at this mouthful. Like, this is absolutely delicious. That nice quarter pounder patty with that cheese melted over top, that thick cut bacon on there, then along with that barbecue sauce, sweet and heat. Oh, Royal Nova Company, I really enjoy your sauces, I won't lie. Anyway, I appreciate you taking the time to watch how I like to make my hamburgers. I hope you're going to use this to your own advantage. Let me know if you end up cooking anything, and don't be afraid, tag me on Instagram or TikTok. Also, if you want, make sure you like and subscribe. I've got tons of recipes that will help you out. So remember, enjoy some good barbecue, keep cooking, try new things, and thanks again for watching. Until next time.
In this video, I'm going to smoke these ribs low and slow, party style. I'm going to hit them with a bold and smoky barbecue sauce, and then also with a mustard habanero sauce for a little bit of extra kick. Holy cow. Come on along for the ride. It's your boy Saucy Rossy. Make sure you like and subscribe. It helps me out immensely. Share this with your friends and family and anyone else that loves good food, especially if they love barbecue. Let's jump into this recipe. I'm taking 2 racks of ribs. I'm pulling off that silver skin on the bottom, and I'm just going to prep them, slicing each rib individually around the bone. Really straightforward here, okay? Then we're going to grab a delicious dry rub. I'm using sweet chipotle rub and seasoning by Maritime Madness. This has such a fantastic flavor profile, so I'm going to make sure to fully cover these ribs. Now, since we've individually cut up these ribs, it's really important that you properly season them. We want all sides seasoned here. You can see I'm going on 3 times with that seasoning, but in between each coat, I'm moving around those ribs to make sure I'm exposing the sides that aren't covered in the dry rub yet. This is what you want your ribs to look like, fully coated, fully seasoned. Next, we're going to go out to the pellet smoker. Today, I'm using a blend of hickory, oak, and maple wood pellets. I think all of those go fantastic with pork, so I thought this just made sense. So I've got each of these ribs laid out individually on their side. That's really important. We're going to smoke them for 1 hour, and then after the first hour, we're going to rotate them, completely flipping them. The idea here is going to be Having one side down will cook half. Flipping them will allow the other half to cook just as evenly. And that's important here. We want them to be even. As you can see, after I flipped, we got some grill marks in there. We have a little bit of char forming, and that's why it's important to flip. We're going to get this exact same thing happening on the other side of the rib now. Okay, now it's just patience. I smoked these for probably 2.5 hours total before I even pulled them off to add sauce. And that's really important. I'm aiming for about, I don't know, maybe 165, 170 internal before I actually pull them off. That's really important here, getting them to that point. Because we're about to take them and put them into a tinfoil tray with some butter, brown sugar, and the sauce that I mentioned earlier. So, like I said, be patient. It will take a little bit to get here. I'm running my smoker at 250 degrees, but with party ribs, you can keep them anywhere between 225 and 325. Obviously, if you have less time, the higher temperature will cook them faster. But if you do have the time, allowing them to smoke between 225 and 250 will get you a better smoke profile. So do what you want there. I'll leave that up to you. The little bit faster still works great for this method, but the slower really develops that smoky profile. And you guys know me. I really enjoy a good smoky profile. Okay, so like I said, we've taken these ribs, we've individually split them, we've removed the silver skin, we've seasoned them with our dry rub, we've put them on the smoker, 1 hour the first side, an hour and a half the second side. We pull them off, and this is what we're working with. A delicious dry rub rib. But I wanted these all sauced up. So I went in with some delicious brown sugar, some knobs of butter, and Bold and Smoky grilling sauce by Maritime Madness. And I fully coated these ribs. At first I started going slow, then I started just squeezing the bottle out because we really want to get this barbecue sauce in here and coat these ribs entirely. Super important. Now, if you guys are familiar with my other cooking recipe videos, you'll know I love Carolina style barbecue sauce, which is a mustard style sauce. So I thought maybe combining this habanero mustard barbecue sauce from Maritime Madness, well, it's actually more of a hot sauce, along with their Bold and Smoky, would be kind of like creating my own homemade Carolina barbecue sauce with a habanero kick. It's not exactly how it turned out, but don't worry, it still turned out absolutely delicious and delectable. I was super thrilled on it. And as you can see here, I left on the tinfoil for an hour on the smoker to really let them kind of like braise in that barbecue sauce mixture. And then, 15 minutes with that lid off, just to let things tack up a little bit more. So you pull it off once everything's done, then you just kind of mix it into that sauce. And this is what you're left with. Pure pork perfection. Delicious food. Barbecue heaven. Oh my goodness, doesn't that look incredible? Look at those little specks of that dry rub in there. Oh, buddy, I am thrilled about this one. I hope you enjoyed this recipe video. It's so simple and so delicious, and I highly suggest you try this out yourself. If you do, don't be afraid. Follow me on Instagram and TikTok and tag me. I'd love to see how it turned out. This is how mine turned out. Plated up with some potatoes and corn. It was an absolutely delicious meal. So thanks again for watching. Don't be afraid. Like and subscribe. Follow me. Go check out my other recipe videos. And don't be afraid to share this with your friends and family. Until next time, take care and stay safe. What's up? It's your boy Saucy Rossy, the Canadian king of backyard barbecue. I'm planning on entering a local Kansas City Barbecue Society competition, and I've been practicing my chicken. Now, this is not the final recipe I'm going to be using, but I still wanted to give you an insight into the practice and, thought process when I'm preparing this. So come on along for the ride, smash those buttons, like and subscribe, and let's talk all about this competition chicken that I'm preparing. As you can see here, I'm struggling to get this chicken skin off. A little embarrassing, but hey, everyone needs to learn how to do it. It's perfectly fine. What's really important about competition chicken is like the look, the bite, and just so many little factors. So starting off, we want to kind of like make this more uniform. That's really important here. I'm going to actually trim off that knuckle
over to the side. Then I'm going to kind of square up this little piece. That's really important here. I also noticed there was a tendon on the bottom. I'm going to remove that. If a judge bites into a tendon, you'll lose points. So that's super important. You'll also notice here I'm using the knife and scraping the fat off of this chicken thigh. Again, super important. You don't want a fatty bite for the judge. So I'm just going to finish kind of like squaring this off here. Try and make it almost like a little pillow shape. That's what I'm aiming for here. A little chicken leg pillow kind of thing, right? I mean, frankly, the reality here is we're wasting a lot of meat. I'm not the most excited about that, but hey, you got to do what you got to do sometimes. So as I finish just kind of like removing all little tendons and squaring this up, it ends up looking like this cute little chicken pillow almost. And that's what we're aiming for here. Just a nice uniform shape, super important. Again, make sure you get all the tendons off. You want it to be perfectly uniform. And I keep saying this, but you want it to look like a little pillow. There you go. There's that pillow action. So next, we're going to go to those barnyard scrotums. Check this chicken skin out. We want to make sure that we lay it down flat and spread it out. We're trying to get as much space in like a square shape as we can. And we're going to trim off all that outside exterior skin. That's not going to be useful here. It does not help our presentation. So by trimming this down and just kind of making it just as uniform as the little pillow that we made, that's going to be ideal. Now, chicken skin also has fat on it, so you want to make sure you've scraped all that fat off. That's real important here. We want the best bite possible. So now take that thigh that we had and just kind of roll it up. Now, I'm just going to let you know one little mistake here. I didn't roll it tight enough. I should have pulled that skin a little bit tighter. It would have made it a little, more thin on the chicken, if you will. And that's real important. Now, I'm not going to give you all my secrets. This here is one of my injection broths that I've personally made. I think it's absolutely incredible with chicken. So I'm not going to tell you what's in it. Maybe I will after the competition, but for now, just know it's some injection broth that I kind of whipped together. Lots of delicious stuff in there, including some Mount Savory. Super stoked about that. You can see all that right just floating at the top. Nice little butter mixture in there with some broth. Yum. Anyway, there's 3 points of injection on the chicken thigh. You would be shocked to think that, but we're going to get all the injection we can in there. Now, I've gotten all of these chicken thighs kind of trimmed up, uniform. I've got all the skin trimmed up in uniform as well. I'm going ahead here. We're making sure everything is fully seasoned. Right out of there, I had them kind of sitting in the nice butter broth there for a little, just to kind of like marinate as well on the outside. And then boom, we're going to hit the tops here with some more seasoning. Now, we already did season the bottom. These bad boys are fully seasoned. But again, I want you all to pay attention to the mistake I'm making right now. I am not pulling that chicken skin tight enough. I just draped it over, but I really should have pulled it over. Personally, I think that's a mistake I made here, but that's why we practice, right? Now I'll know that for the actual competition. And there we are right on the smoker. Now, I think it's really important here to just go over the cooking method I'm using. So I'm starting off with a wire rack just to catch some drippings into a pan here. And we're going to let this smoke for about 30 minutes at 300 degrees. I'm using a blend of pellets. I believe it's oak, maple, and cherry wood. And boy, that's going to be delicious. Perfect for chicken. And as you can see here, that injection broth, I poured a little extra in with them so they can almost like braise as I go along. Now, secret number 2, my homemade delectable barbecue sauce. I'm not really going to go into the details here. Maybe I will if after the competition. But for now, this is another secret weapon of mine. Pretty stoked on it. And just to be clear, this is homemade. I'm going into this competition making all my own seasonings and sauces almost completely. Oh, buddy, this is going to be wicked. Not to mention the help I got from the Halifax Honey Company. Just going to give them a quick shout out. I am using honey in this barbecue sauce. It's probably the main ingredient, and man, oh man, it's going to be delectable. So normally I would take this barbecue sauce and I would dip the chicken in it, but today I actually wanted to be able to get an eye on the bottom, so I brushed it on. Now here we are. Let's take a look at this. Man, oh man, that little perfection pillow. There's a lot of little pieces of this that I could have done better, but I'm still pretty stoked about how this actually did turn out. We got a little bit of char on the bottom. I don't even know if that's char. We're approaching char is what I should say there, but still looks unbelievable. That texture should be fantastic. They still look juicy, loaded with that injection. Pretty stoked on this one. This is going to be a blast to snack on. That's the one fun part about all this cooking, like figuring out recipes and stuff, is the taste testing. Sometimes you blow your mind, and then sometimes you just blow your taste buds because it's too much. Man, oh man, though, these were not enough. I really enjoyed all of this. And the problem here is I used 2 different dry rubs trying to test which one I preferred more. Truth be told, I don't know. They both tasted incredible, but in different ways. And I'm pretty stoked on that. It's going to be so delicious and so tasty. Oh, doesn't that look impressive, the way that's tacked on there? Just how uniform it is? I really enjoyed this. And I also made myself a little watermelon salad just to kind of go along with this, to cleanse the palate as I kind of took my testing bites. And that's basically it, guys. I still don't know exactly how I am going to enter this competition, but I think this recipe is going to be very close to what I use. So thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. I'm super stoked about entering this contest. Make sure you follow me on Instagram and TikTok, as well as here on YouTube. Don't forget to like and subscribe. See my journey through this KCBS competition. It's going to be super interesting and super fun, but I'm just glad you're here to watch my videos. I always have a fun time cooking for you guys. So remember, like and subscribe, join my community, come on along for the ride, and just enjoy yourself. Take care. In this video, I'm going to show you everything there is about barbecuing and making simple stir fries. Stir fries are such a fun and unique way to make really easy dinners. You can just take whatever's in your fridge, basically throw it together with some rice, and bam, you have a delicious little meal. And I just want to show you how easy it is to do this on your own grill at home. So come on along for the ride. Make sure you like and subscribe. Join my community of home cooks. My name's Saucy Rossy, and I'm the Canadian king of backyard barbecue. Check me out. All we're going to do to start is take our griddle sheet and we're going to just spread some oil out. Nothing complex here, guys. Just be careful. You are using a barbecue. This is oil. It can catch fire or shoot up some flames depending on the kind of oil you're using and how intense you're going here. Now, next, keep in mind this. You're throwing down some chicken. It's going to spit up at you. So just be cautious. Try not to burn yourself, but have fun out here. You're on the barbecue. There's nothing wrong with a little flames and a little bit of danger, right? Anyway, let's get this chicken down. I've been letting this chicken marinate in the sauce I'll be adding very shortly. So when you make this sauce, make a little bit extra and just set it aside and cover that chicken in it. Let it sit in there for about maybe an hour or 2. Next, you're going to continue just browning off that chicken. That's what's real important here. We just want to, get that oil on the chicken. We want to make sure it's not sticking to the griddle or anything like that. Moving stuff around, flipping it so all sides are going to get cooked properly. Just, wang jangle the chicken, as I like to say. That's real important. You don't want one side to be pink and one side not to be. If you have a better spatula than me, please let me know in the comments below if you have a recommendation. As you can see here, I'm just using a little bamboo stick. So once we've cooked this chicken down a little bit, got all sides cooked, it's still probably a little bit pink in the middle, so continue cooking it, but we're going to add in our garlic to begin. Then, once we get that mixed, we're going to add in the rest of our vegetables. That's going to be 1 red onion, 1 red pepper, and a little bit of corn. Buddy, I really enjoy corn in a stir fry. I really like corn in general, but when you add it into a stir fry, I don't know what it is. I just get excited. Something about that. Anyway, we're just going to cook this down. Then I have this little cover. I'm just going to throw it on top, and that's going to basically let everything steam together. I left it on there for maybe, 4 or 5 minutes, nothing too intense, and I just let it cook. Really, that's going to cook through that chicken. It's going to cook down those vegetables. That's what we want here. Next, we're going to just go ahead and give this another stir. We don't want stuff to burn or stick to the griddle sheet. If you do get anything there, it's perfectly fine. Don't worry about that. Add a little bit of char on there, nothing to be worried about at all. But what I like to do at this point, spread it all out, get it nice spread out and everything, and then get it ready because we're going to dump on a load of rice. Now, what's important here with the rice is that you also get this fully coated and just incorporated in everything. This rice was about a day old or so from another dinner I had. When I was cooking some rice, I was like, you know what? I'm making stir fry on the barbecue this weekend. Let's go ahead and cook a bunch extra. And it was totally worth it. Super, super, super easy. Just if you don't have any on hand, cook some up and then throw it in the fridge for a little bit. Now next, the sauce that I just threw on there. This is that homemade sauce as well as the marinade for the chicken. As you can see, I dumped it all over the rice and I'm just mixing it in to incorporate. So how do we make this sauce? You're going to mix a half a cup of soy sauce, a third a cup of water, 2 tablespoons of honey or brown sugar, 1 tablespoon of apple cider or rice vinegar, 2 cloves of garlic, 1 tablespoon of ginger, and 2 teaspoons of sesame oil. That's going to be the sauce and marinade. And then all you can see here, I fully incorporated. At this point, everything is cooked. We're ready to go. Everything's warm. It's delicious. Plate it up and just be pumped because you pushed your barbecue boundaries. It's so easy to do these simple stir fries. This is not some elegant recipe. This is a basic recipe that you can make at home with leftovers in like 10 to 20 minutes. This is so simple, so easy, and absolutely delicious. I hope you try this. If you do, let me know in the comments below. Don't be afraid to tag me on Instagram or TikTok as well. Go check me out on all my socials. Thanks again for watching. I hope you have a great day. Take care and stay safe.
What's up? What's up? It's your boy Saucy Rossy, the Canadian king of backyard barbecue, and today I wanted to show you this unbelievable recipe, a watermelon salad. It's so delicious, so simple, and so easy to throw together. It's going to make you look like the king at your next barbecue cookout. So come on along for the ride. Smash those buttons, like and subscribe. Comment below if you've ever had watermelon salad. And let's go through this entire recipe together. Starting off, I simply sliced up a cucumber. There's nothing too special here. I'm just slicing it to the thickness I like. In this specific salad, I personally think that the thinner the slices, the better. However, if you really like crunchy cucumbers, go ahead and add thick slices. It will not cause any issue here. That's up to you, and it's a personal preference thing. Next, we're going to carve off the outside layer of a watermelon, and then we're going to slice it like I'm doing here into big chunks and then slicing those into smaller cubes. Personally, I find this is the best way to handle a watermelon, but if you have a different method that you feel more comfortable with, I am not stopping you. All we need to do here is simply slice the watermelon into smaller cube-sized shapes. Pretty straightforward. Then, once we have all the watermelon and cucumber together, give it a quick mix to make sure everything's incorporated. And we're going to grab some feta cheese, and I'm going to just push this into here. Pretty straightforward, nothing too crazy. Don't overload it. But again, if you actually really love feta, you can throw in a bit extra. It's not going to hurt. Then next, we're going to take some mint directly from my garden and throw it in. Then, from the Toucan Olive Company, we're going to throw in a little bit of olive oil. Just a little bit, though, nothing too crazy. Then some delicious, wonderful wildflower honey by the Halifax Honey Company. This is probably one of my overall favorite ingredients in barbecue, so I love putting it in my recipes. Then we're going to hit it with a little bit of salt, a little bit of pepper, give that a full mix, then come back with some balsamic vinegar, again by the Toucan Company. And this is just going to be absolutely fantastic. Check this out. Holy cow. You can simply plate it up like this, just on its own. It's so crunchy, so flavorful, so delicious. It hits all those specific notes, and it pairs perfectly with protein. Chicken, pork, beef, any of it. Fish. It's just so simple, light, and delicate, and refreshing. I really, really enjoy this salad. I mean, just look at that. How can you complain, right? Nice and crunchy. It's got all kinds of different textures. The watermelon's soft. The feta cheese, oh, yum. Just that little bit of fragrance from the mint, the balsamic vinaigrette. Oh my goodness, it's just a 10 out of 10. I really highly recommend you try this recipe out. It's so simple and delicious. And let me know in the comments if you do. I really hope you enjoyed this recipe video. Make sure to like and subscribe. Again, watch all my videos. Take care. Stay safe.
What's up? What's up? It's your boy Saucy Rossy, and in this video, we're going to talk about how to split a chicken using kitchen scissors, kitchen shears, whatever you'd like to refer to them as. It's really straightforward, but it's one of those things that not everyone knows exactly how to do it. So I thought I'd just make a simple video showing you my process, going through it step by step, just to break down this chicken. So make sure you like and subscribe. Hell yeah, if you love barbecue like I do, let's do this. Starting off, I patted this chicken dry with some paper towel. It's nothing crazy. Just get yourself some paper towel and just do your best to dry it off. You're not going to get it completely dry, but try and get as much, liquid and moisture off the skin as you can. Next, we're looking for the spine. So obviously, like all basic animals, kind of goes from like their tail up to the head. That's where we're looking for. It runs directly along the center of the back. And like I said just a moment ago, we're going to use some shears to slice through this and get that removed. So let's just figure that out. And let's take a moment here and point out where the spine is. So starting from the tail all the way up to the head, there it is. Both my fingers ran on either side, and that's where we're going to be placing our cuts. And with the chicken, you should be able to find the neck like that. It might be butchered out, but if you do, you just want to run alongside that. So I always suggest either pull on the neck or tail, whichever end you're starting from, and we're just going to run right along that spine. There's nothing complicated here. Be careful of your fingers and make sure you get all the way through that skin. It's very important. Next, repeat the process on the other side of that spine. And it's just something, again, patience is important here. Be careful, watch your fingers, and just slice all the way up through. Now, if you're one of those people that doesn't like to waste things, then this spine is going to be perfect for you to just freeze. Throw it in a Ziploc bag, vacuum seal it, whatever you got. You can make stock with that, and that's just a ton of flavor in there. Now next, we're going to go back to the chicken, and right up between the two breastbones, right in here, we want to give a quick slice with those scissors. So I'm going to go in, just give it a quick cut, and that's going to let me kind of pull it and separate it. That's going to give me access to this cartilage and this bone in here as well. I'm going to follow the guide between the breastbones down from the bottom around the cartilage just to cut this out. So let's begin with that. From the bottom between the legs, like I mentioned, along the side of the cartilage right there, and then up through the center. It's going to be super straightforward. You should just kind of glide right through. There shouldn't be anything in your way. And just make sure you cut through all the meat. I didn't get all the way through there. It was kind of silly, but what can you do, right? Now, next, you might be thinking we're done here because these are looking pretty ready, but they're not 100% ready. We can clean them up a little bit more. So that's what we're going to go for. Starting off, there's that bone right there in the center. You can stick your finger underneath and just pry it out. And then there's the cartilage that I mentioned earlier. Once you have that bone out, you can just tuck your finger behind that and give it a good tug just like this. And that will pull it out along with a little tendon. And that's perfect. Now, at the very bottom of your chicken, we might have some extra skin. That's perfectly fine to just trim off. That skin will probably drip a lot of grease, so by getting it off, hey, that's a good thing. If you see any little tendons there, feel free to slice those away as well. Now, the same thing on the other side. We want to make sure we get these large pieces of skin, all that fat, right off of there. They probably won't have enough time to really render down and do what we want because we're not going that low and slow. So I recommend trimming it off. Next, grab yourself a piece of paper towel and we're going to just kind of wash and wipe out any of the gunk that you're seeing in there. I don't know too much about this gunk, but it's just something I like to wipe out. It's not the end of the world. Normally it just cooks. You probably can eat it. It's probably, just part of the inside of the chicken, which is, probably good for you, honestly. Anyway, check this out. Half chicken, boom, prepped. Another half chicken, boom, prepped. How simple is that? Man, let me know if you tried this. Hopefully this helped. Pretty simple, pretty easy. And if you enjoyed this video, just know I have tons of recipes out there for barbecue. Chicken, ribs, beef, all that. Seafood as well. So make sure you like and subscribe. Jump over to my channel. Check out some vids. You're going to love it, bud. Take care.